Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am Zeratar. We are in Westfall, and I'm doing this recording, this voiceover, after the fact, and also out of order because I've already done Red Ridge Part 1 and Westfall Part 2. So luckily we're kicking things off with a pet battle here. Forgive me for not really remembering everything that was going on. We're going to rock this in full screen mode so I can kind of watch what's going on here. And hopefully not screw it up too badly. So I did learn my lesson. We're not doing this in protection spec. We are doing this in our glorious retribution specialization. Rocking it with the Ashbringer that seemed to fit the gear pretty well. Keep everything looking nice and pretty. So we will, I do apologize for the lack of background music on this one. I did not record it with background music, and while I could theoretically add some in, it just didn't really seem super necessary, super worth the investment, I guess you could say, that it was going to take me to figure out how to really do that. It's already midnight, and what I would really like to do is finish out doing this voiceover, and then I can hopefully do another segment of Red Ridge tonight, because I doubt very much that I will finish it. But I do currently have, like I said, I already have Westfall Part 2. I already have Red Ridge Part 1. So I just need to get this video out of the way, and then we can continue on, hopefully with live commentary. Because doing these in the playback, I really don't know exactly what I'm going to talk about. Like, I don't want to be talking about things out of order. Like, hey, by the way, I went and, hit level 40 and got flying, and then you see the next video and I'm like level 18 or something obviously with no flying. I do really like that mount. So I'm kind of sort of doing this one as a reaction video because it's been a couple days since I had recorded this. I actually have hit level 40 and gotten my speedy flying, and I was zipping around mining and fishing and doing some of the less than fun to watch things, but I have not done any more questing. I've primarily just been running dungeons and, waiting until I could sit down and record. One thing that I will say is my fiance and I did go out and we watched the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, which I believe just launched this past weekend. It's currently Monday, I guess it was Monday. Now it's ticked over past midnight, so now it's Tuesday. but it was Monday, April 3rd. Went to see the Dungeons and Dragons movie because I do love me some D&D. And I have to say, I am convinced 100%, no matter what the Funko Pop might allude to, no matter what the D&D Beyond stat blocks that they came up with for these characters might say, I am 100% convinced that Chris Pine is not a bard. He is one of the townsfolk. He is a peasant. He does not have a character class. He just is an NPC that gets the party to go and do things. Maybe he accompanies the party. We've all had NPCs like that, they've got my daughter and, I will go with you and help you plan. But like Chris Pine's character never casts a spell through the entire movie. He just is the guy with a plan whose daughter has been kidnapped. Like he's an NPC. He is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a player class. And the same with not to give too much away, but I guess the same with Hugh Grant's character. He doesn't seem to have an actual player class. He is just a guy. Was it Cary? Did I just say Cary Grant? Oh my God. Hugh Grant. Hugh. Yeah, it's after midnight. Nothing good happens after midnight. But yeah, I am 100% convinced that those two in this movie do not have a class. They just exist. They're just a couple of guys who are in this big world of might and magic, and there they are. They are just hanging out. So we get to rock out with, before I jump back to the WoW, I just want to say I was a little disappointed. We went to the AMC near us, and they were out of the D20 popcorn bucket. It was just very sad. So we are no longer in Protspec, as evidenced by the fact that shit is dying rather quickly. We instead get to rock out with Retribution and just absolutely fucking obliterate everything for the next 10 or 15 levels or so. After that, don't get me wrong, we still wreck. But Ret, in its new form, has this weird quirk where you do really, really good up until about level 25, and then things start to slow down a little bit, and then you get some more talents, and you slowly build it back up, and you get back up to that kill speed, but it does suffer this little bit of a valley right in the middle of your leveling experience, between like 25 and 35, and then it starts to ramp back up. Don't ask me why World of Warcraft refuses to save how I like my chat box. Every time I log in, it just disappears, and the fact that I'm saving it as a profile, it doesn't matter. It's not in that drop-down box when I go back to WoW. So you might be able to read that. You might not be. The long and short of what's going on is there's this shadowy figure that seems to be gathering some of the denizens of Westfall. Hello, kitten. Are you seriously just going to sit here making fucking noise all night? Go lay down. Go on. You can do it. There you go. You get some love now. You got to go lay down. Gathering up some of the denizens of Westfall for some nefarious plot or another. To anyone that played during the classic days, or if you've played classic WoW since its re-release, or even if you played on some private servers, if you did Dead Mines back in the day, this quest chain, when it came out in Cataclysm, I remember doing it because, of course, holy shit, there's a brand new leveling experience, or so it was claimed. Although a lot of the quests were, by and large, the same. Like Elwyn is pretty much entirely the same, except there were a couple of extra rare spawns thrown in. And Duskwood is pretty much entirely the same. Trying to help this hunter out, let him get some of these hits, but wanted to fight me on it. But of course, because it was touted as a brand new leveling experience, I jumped in and leveled anew. And I remember doing these quests, and when I get to the point that you are about to see, that you will see in a little bit, I will try to mention when it actually pops up. When I get to that point, holy shit, it was fucking awesome. It was one of those, oh my God, I can't believe they brought it back like this. So I will try to remember to mention it when we get to that point. But for right now, I believe what was going on at this time was Deathwing had attacked Stormwind. A lot of people got displaced from their homes, so Westfall got inundated with homeless and vagrants. And all of a sudden there was this shadowy figure kind of gathering everyone together and causing trouble for the people of Westfall and the people of Stormwind. So the homeless seem to know what's going on, sort of. They blamed it on the murlocs and the Gnolls. So you go and kill murlocs and Gnolls until you find, a clue. That clue points you over this way. You go into the mines because the kobolds seem to be involved. And then there's a shadowy figure meeting with an ogre. And you're like, hold on. What's going on here? And then you run back. There's these thugs that are like, oh, did you meet the new boss? Is it really? And then they kind of trail off. There's a gunshot here after you deal with the thugs, and the person that tipped us off about the kobolds and helped us eavesdrop is now dead. So we're sent to the Saldine's farm. and we get to do a couple of quests that are pretty infamous. They are not nearly as bad as they once were. But this used to be like, oh, we want you to kill 20 of these fucking Harvest Watchers, and these Harvest Watchers have an aggro radius the likes of which you would not fucking believe. And this collect 6 of different things quest used to include, I forget what the other thing was that it included, but there was another ingredient, and the drop rates were not great. So, but on the bright side, we are a Retribution Paladin. Red Paladins, some people are claiming they're broken. Some people are claiming they're just fine. They're still not topping the leaderboards. But some of the people that I ran with today, when I was doing random dungeons, had names like "My class is broken." And they're level 10, so the way damage scaling works and how much of the percentage of damage you're doing gets a little skewed in their favor. So they were like 30% of the overall damage for the dungeon. And they're like, look how broken my class is. And it's like, you don't understand how this whole scaling thing works, do you? Like, level 10s are pretty much always going to be leaps and bounds ahead of people at higher levels, because your boss has less health and you're inversely doing more damage than you would at higher levels percentage wise. So yes, you are doing a higher percentage of the damage, but that doesn't mean a whole lot, especially when you get up towards endgame with normal rating, heroic rating, mythic rating. Yeah, paladins are in a much better place than they were, but they're still not, just topping meters every single time. I think they are just so much better. They are in such a better place than they were that they feel broken. Like, people feel like they're getting away with something now, because holy shit, paladins feel really good to play, and they haven't felt good to play in a couple of expansions now. So I think people are just kind of mistaking, this relative improvement for being broken, instead of like when a class is actually broken, like Death Knights when they first launched. Or hell, Paladins in Wrath of the Lich King were pretty busted. Now I think they're just in a really good place. You could do some numbers tweaking. You could perhaps nerf their damage a little bit. I don't think that's necessary. But you could nerf their damage, and the framework is there. The framework feels really good for paladins. And I am beyond thrilled, because, as I've said, paladins are just... I love them. I love paladins. I've always enjoyed paladin. They haven't always been fun to play. In fact, I would say that the majority of their existence, they have not been very engaging or fun to play. And now they're in a really good spot, and I love their transmog. I love the fucking lore behind Ashbringer is awesome. And yeah, it was a little silly that everybody, every paladin got Ashbringer. But from a lore perspective, no, they didn't. Just you did. Like, unless they sharded off everyone into their own private server, it was always going to look kind of silly. But I really enjoyed the whole Legion Order Hall thing. I felt that was a really cool system and really brought back a lot of the class fantasy for most of the classes. Not every class was, given this royal treatment. Some classes probably did feel a little bit shafted. I don't know. I have not played through every class's order hall. So I'm just kind of making a guess and saying that I'm sure somebody felt a little slighted, because no matter what you do, how good of a product you make, someone's going to say they feel a little slighted. B is cute. So, I went so far out of my way to get some of the other Ashbringer skins, like the Corrupted Ashbringer. I'm a little disappointed that I never got the different colors for the Corrupted Ashbringer, because I think the red would look really fucking good with this outfit. And I'm a little sad that I don't get to rock out with the red Corrupted Ashbringer, but it is what it is. So we kill some Harvest Watchers. We get the ingredients for some soup. And now we're going to go and activate one of these overloaded Harvest Golems so we can kill even more Harvest Golems, because why the hell not? And then we will go and help feed the homeless. And while we're running, let me take a moment to thank our sponsor. No, I'm just fucking with you. I ain't got no goddamn sponsor. But I thought it would be fun to say. So here we are in our lovely little overloaded Harvest Golem, and watch us go. Come on, click the button. I know I do it here soon. Oh, right. Fucking Wowhead, which is just keeping track of what gets looted so it can be uploaded to Wowhead to help keep their databases fresh. Somehow now that add-on is disabling action buttons from working. I don't know what the fuck Blizzard did behind the scenes, but god damn, I swear they break something every fucking patch. The entirety of Dragonflight has just been a fucking nightmare for add-ons. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but Jesus Christ. Like, I do not understand how, and it's always a different add-on. Like, it'll be Auctionator, and then it'll be Details is blocking you from opening this clamshell and seeing what's inside. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean my damage meters are stopping me from opening something in my bags? Like, this, I have never seen this be an issue before. Like, if I had a bag add-on like Bagnon or Arc Inventory, yes, when those went screwy and prevented me from interacting with my bags, I understood. That made sense. That was a problem with the add-on. The add-on needed to be updated. Need help? But some of this other silly shit, I do not fucking understand it at all. I don't know what the fuck is so broken inside Dragonflight that it screws with, not only with add-ons, but if I had 0 add-ons loaded, the default Blizzard UI randomly blocks you from doing things like opening a clam in your inventory or clicking an action button. And I know this because I got so tired of seeing that fucking pop up because it was happening like constantly. I'd reload, I'd get to attack once, and then recount would be blocking, my attacks or whatever. So I disabled everything and went, fuck it, we're going to just play it vanilla. And nope. Fucking still. And it would pop up saying the Blizzard, Blizzard something or other was blocking you from doing this action. Would you like to disable it? And it's like, well, can't really fucking disable the main game now, can we? So I will give a little bit of a spoiler alert. I picked a terrible time to stop recording this video because the next video, the very first quest, is kind of the culmination of everything that we do in this video. The very first quest. And then the rest of the video is like side quests that don't fucking matter in the slightest. So that was poor timing on my part. I will cop to that 100%. But we've got these gnolls now jumping in and trying to attack Sentinel Hill. Now, for those of you who didn't play vanilla or classic, Sentinel Hill was like they never completed it. So this has been like 5 years they've been building Sentinel Hill at the time. And they finally got these walls up. The inn finally has a completed roof. Like when Cataclysm launched and you got to see that parts of the world had actually changed. Like, this place that had been under construction for so long was finally fixed. Was kind of really cool. To see, oh my God, they were working on this. There were, some of the NPCs were workmen, actually, just constantly hammering away at buildings and whatnot. And now those workmen aren't here anymore. There's an actual like village built up. They've started, they've finished some buildings. They still have people in tents because they have more buildings yet to come, but they're being, oh yeah, I think I was trying to take I gotta remember that to use that as the thumbnail for this video. We'll see if I remember to do that. Getting to see that this work that it looked like the NPCs were doing was finally completed was really fucking cool. I think this is where I kind of derp a little bit and I make it out of town or almost out of town and then realize, oh wait, I was supposed to pick up some quests, or at least one other quest. How far down this road do I make it before I realize I'm being a dum-dum? Right there. So at least I've done this zone enough to know, hey, wait, something's not right. But not enough to not get stuck on fences. Actually, I think at this point I hadn't even added myself to the guild yet. Like I have a guild that I made back in, Jesus, 2008, something to that effect. I remember trying to form it, and a buddy of mine my buddy who actually got me into World of Warcraft so many years ago, way back in 2005, was hanging out with me, I believe on voice chat while I was trying to get a guild set up. And back then you needed 10 signatures. And I don't know if someone, just wanted a little bit of extra money, so they logged off and logged on a second character on their same account, and it stopped me from being able to actually submit the guild charter. But I remember I must have tried doing that, like submit the guild charter. I was logging out, logging back in, and it kept telling me there was an error, but it wouldn't tell me what the error was. And so in the end, I ended up having to delete the guild charter and just buy a new one and start from scratch. And then I was able to do it. But my buddy at the time was on his mage, and we were, low level. I think we had just hit 20 because he spent like the 3 hours I was screwing around with this, just casting Blizzard onto the fountain in Stormwind. And that was like the entirety of our night. We did nothing else that night other than me try and set this guild up. But I finally got around to adding this lovely paladin to my guild, which is nice because then I was able to pull some of the materials that we've had just kind of accumulating for years and years. Herbs and ore from different expansions. We had thousands of herbs, and most of them these days were going for like a gold or less than a gold a piece. But hell, they sold. And when you're selling 15,000 herbs for about a gold a piece, they tend to be they tend to give you a little bit of money. So I think I made it up to a little over 50,000, and then I deposited 50,000 into the guild bank to keep my money relatively low and to bolster the funds in the guild bank. Now, sadly, I have a guild, but it's never really been a guild. I've had some friends join it from time to time, and we would run some stuff. We'd level, we'd run dungeons. Never really raided. I think I tried to get a raiding team together once upon a time, but it just never really panned out. I'm not good at being a raid leader. It was definitely easier when I was unemployed and could just sit around all day. Now I find that I don't even really want to raid. I just want to do shit like this. I just want to level and enjoy the old zones and run old content and look for transmog. Like this is the WoW that I enjoy. So the shadowy figure's back, and she's talking to this goblin riding on a whatever the hell that thing is. Talking about how the Gnolls failed, and she's saying, no, they were the distraction we needed, so it's all good. don't worry about the Worgen that's locked up in Sentinel Hill. We'll free him during the dawning. And she's having her goblin friend assemble their troops in Moonbrook. So we're going to go turn in this quest and then
what can I do for you?
Head on over to Moonbrook. So I want to see, can I push escape and not screw everything up? Okay, good. I can. Hooray. That's wonderful. We still have about 14 minutes to go. So I'm going to watch. I think I'm going to watch the rest of this in a teeny weeny eye straino vision. As Yahtzee would call it.
King's honor, friend. For the Alliance. Be careful. Go with honor, friend.
Can I help you? See you around. See you later. Have a good one.
So now we are off to Moonbrook. And I'll try and keep an eye on the time. We've got about 13 minutes to go, so it's 12:35 now. I'm just going to full screen this again so I can see what the hell's going on. I do apologize that the video quality seems to be a little blurry. I blame that entirely on my recording software. I need to tweak some settings in that, I do believe. Because I'm fairly certain the rig I have could handle recording WoW at its native resolution. And hopefully that will help this look better. So hopefully starting from Red Ridge Part 2, it will look a little bit better. That's my hope anyway. We'll see what actually ends up happening. Turn right, jackass. You are... There you go. We got to go this way. So now we are at Moonbrook, at this little outpost.
Greetings.
And here we are going to grab some information pamphlets. Grab this Flight Master while we're here. We're apparently just going to stand here for a moment. I think while I was doing some of these quests, I was trying to order dinner, so that's why I kept getting stuck on like random fences and shit, because I would be like just auto run and then scroll, try and find dinner. Move. There you go. All right, now we're back at it. So if I were a better video editor, I could probably just, cut that out. But I'm not. And that's okay. So here's our propaganda. Here is our informational pamphlet. And I believe I could have clicked on these. I don't know if these actually go to my bag or... let's see. I have 74 free slots. Now I have 73. So I guess they do actually go to my bags. So these are actually items I could have looked at. And of course I don't. So if you have a strong hankering to read those, you can check them out on wowhead.com. Pretty good resource if you're just wanting to read through some of the if you just want to read through some of those lore books. And I'll try to be a bit more cognizant of that in the future. For now, all I can do is, apologize as I try and hunt for more people wearing red bandanas. There's some mounting there, kind of seemed unnecessary, but what are you going to do? What do we need? We need 2 more bandanas. Oh, look, there's a person in front of you and one off to the left, which is a lot easier to see in the playback. I probably was not paying that much attention, especially if I was trying to order dinner. So now we get to run way over here. Turn these quests back in and
Need help? Go with honor, friend.
go check out this this dawning that everyone's talking about.
Honor, friend. Be careful. Light bless you.
So let's go see what is up with this dawning. Sadly, even though I wasn't on the quest yet, it already kind of triggered all of the cutscene or all of the dialogue. But there's that shadowy figure again, somehow remaining completely cloaked in shadow in the middle of the day. Talking about how they were abandoned by Stormwind. But today we are reborn. I forget if this is where they do the callback. No, not just yet. Okay, so it just says today we're reborn. Today we stand as men and women, not nameless, faceless numbers. So we need to get a little bit more insight on what is going on. Once I apparently stop scrolling and looking for dinner, there we go.
Be careful. For the Alliance.
So we need to speak to this wise Draenei over here, who's going to give us some incense and help us figure out what the hell is going on here. we got this shadowy figure running around. Who could it be? And at the time, at least for me, and I'm sure for many other people, those who weren't part of the Cataclysm beta test and who hadn't seen this, and maybe there was some lore that had popped up somewhere, perhaps in the books, but I don't believe so. I think a lot of us thought that this was Edwin Van Cleef, somehow not dead, and had come back to get his revolution going again, after we thwarted him the first time. So you come into the Dead Mines, the dungeon where Van Cleef once stood, and you can see off to the right there, there's no Van Cleef listed. So 5 years ago, in the heart of the Dead Mines, Van Cleef had built this ship that we're flying over, this dreadnought. He was going to sail it to Stormwind and fucking annihilate that place. But instead, we stopped him. So here is, I got rid of the UI because I wanted to just watch this fight. Like, here's the group of Alliance that took him out. But sadly, you can't see any of the dialogue if you hide the UI. So the warrior's yelling that there's nowhere left to hide. You are through Van Cleef. And Van Cleef pops out with some of his blackguard. And then more of his blackguard. And then down goes Van Cleef, his blackguard all run off. And of course the party's yelling victory for the Alliance, glory to Stormwind. And it didn't really make a whole lot of sense that Van Cleef would be back, because you take his head as proof that you've killed him. So the party runs away. This little kid pops out. And all she says is, Daddy. ... So now we have a much better idea as to what the hell is going on. Seems that it's not Van Cleef back from the dead. Van Cleef had a child. Edwin Van Cleef was one of the stonemasons who helped rebuild Stormwind. And then Lady Prestor, who was really a black dragon named Onyxia in disguise, convinced the nobles that fuck them. They don't need money for all their hard work and their skills at stonemasonry. And so Van Cleef and his stonemasons instead formed the Defias Brotherhood to kind of terrorize Stormwind, and was planning to, you don't want to pay me for my work rebuilding your city? Well, then fuck you. You can't have your city either. I will destroy it. That priest was trying to race me, but they fell off the ramp. But as stated, we stopped Van Cleef, and now it's Van Cleef's kid that we have to deal with. So again, for more information on the lore, seriously, go check out Noble. I really gotta watch another one of his videos and see if he happens to mention his own name so I can stop mispronouncing it. I just really have not had the time or the inclination to go check that out. And this might be a slightly jarring voice shift. I didn't quite realize when the video ended, so I was like mid-sentence and then everything cut off. So definitely check out that video on the stonemasons. Definitely worth the watch. And I hope y'all have enjoyed this. At least this time I'm actually paying attention to the clock. And I know the video is about to end. So I will catch everyone next time.